This video is brought to you by absolutely nothing.
But why?
You ain't gonna watch this video, but if you do, like, comment, and subscribe. Hello everybody, it's the first video of 2025, aka Year of the Snake, and in celebration of that, I decided to put up a compilation of everything I did with Legion of Lilith that are all found on my BitChute and Rumble, but whatever. It was fun working with them back then, so here you go. Everything from MK Ultra, EA Sports, to Necro Nicki, to the unseen video I did back in 2023 when I came back from the dead from, well, drinking myself to death. Hopefully this video doesn't get age restricted, and enjoy.
So, I am not allowed to introduce the guest properly because the theme is really controversial. Today we are going to talk about if you can really open up, I guarantee you a protection spells from myself because we did this interview. So
what I know about it is just that there was what's pretty much in popular culture already.
Everybody got that?
His name was Michael Aquino. He's the head of psychological operations for the U.S. Army.
The founder of the infamous satanic organization Temple.
Yes.
And he kind of wrote a lot of treatises on what we know as the Black Flame.
In his books about it, and he says that MK Ultra was basically a failed experiment.
Well, duh.
Most of the documents were destroyed at that time.
I've made a huge mistake.
Yeah, it's really hard for anyone what the point of these projects is.
Look at this. Look at it! A world built on fantasy. Synthetic emotions in the form of pills. Psychological warfare in the form of advertising. Mind-altering chemicals in the form of food. Brainwashing seminars in the form of media. Isolated bubbles in the form of social networks.
I know that all the people that I came across that were in it at some point became aggressive towards me.
Well, in my book, you either do it right or you get eliminated.
They used illegal activities in these experiments against people. Obviously, I think it went much further than that.
I mean, come on!
Back in the 80s, he was suspected of being involved in like a pedophile ring at some preschool.
The extreme always seems to make an impression.
He was never charged.
What?
He wrote a book about the fact that he never was a part of that. I kind of wish he wasn't, because he actually seemed like a really interesting person, and like he didn't seem like an asshole, but
Whatever.
I think it would be really interesting if you tried to like summon him, because he actually jokes about that.
My afterlife is so boring. If I have to sing Kumbaya one more time.
Back in the, like around 2010, when conspiracy theories really were becoming popular, and there was a lot of underground media outlets, and I think also kind of a push for that information to come out, probably managed, probably kind of skewed and biased, and that's our agenda. I think most of the people that are in those types of programs just kind of really fucked up people that are wandering around. Sort of became friends with this woman who was a serious victim of it, went through the usual satanic ritual abuse and sexual abuse, and she was trained actually to be a remote viewer. She was really interesting, and she had a radio show, and like every weekend a few of us basically would like get together and like participate. And during that time there was a person that moved into my neighborhood. This one was out in the Midwest and I was out on the West Coast, and they were a musician. They were cool stories.
What's that 3-letter word for child? Can you spell it?
KID.
Why would you do that? You just turned that kid around backwards and put the dick in the kid.
Shut up and get to the point!
As a kid, they spent a lot of time with this man, William Burroughs, who really had a huge influence on American popular culture. He was a beatnik. He was sort of like the granddad beatnik. He was a weird one. I don't know why he was idolized for so many years, but he was a member of NAMBLA, a pedophile organization.
Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
I'll tell you why you do that. Because did you know that there's a gland that sits on your kidney that creates two chemicals? It creates adrenaline and epinephrine. Adrenaline is fear and epinephrine is pain. Now, if you're the kid, if you're the child on your knees, guess what? Your adrenaline's firing. And if that man behind you put the dick in the kid backwards, guess what? You felt epinephrine. And now when your chemicals combine in your vessels and then they get leaked because you just got harvested, they need 1/3 ingredient, and that's oxygen, to create adrenochrome. And what we're talking about now is DOPE, because the DOPE is the dope of the elite, and the dope of the elite is the PEDO. The PEDO is the #1 drug, and it's going at high prices.
Yeah.
It's worth more than its weight in gold. It's worth more than Phoenician purple. And purple being more than a gram of gold, which is also why purple is what is adorned by all popes and all priestesses. Their namesake in Hebrew also bear the number of the beast, being 666. They're all fucking dope peddling pedos.
What the fuck?
William Burroughs was really creative genius. Actually, he was a really important author. He had a lot of controversial ideas. He was really experimental. He also kind of brought like gay rights into the public awareness. And I'm talking about like this kid was like between the ages of like 10 and 12 doing LSD with it, which is sort of strange to begin with. When he was a kid, like he was playing on the swings and he skinned his knee, and there was like this device that
What the fuck is going on?
Long story short, this guy personality started to change really quick, like within a matter of a few weeks of knowing him. And he got really obsessed with me. And he started stalking me and like camping out in the bushes outside of my house. And this like went on for months actually. I tried calling the police, and it's really hard to stop stalkers.
Well, duh.
Eventually, like broke into my house and tried to kill me. Luckily, like when he was on top of me and he was getting ready to slit my throat, I got rescued at the last minute because my mom was upstairs and she had a really bad feeling all of a sudden. So I know something weird is going on.
Well, duh.
And we both, then I find out that my friends also spent a lot of time with William Burroughs as a child, and that he called him his grandfather, and that was his like mentor, I guess. I started to experience some of the really kind of supernatural forces. When you get involved in it, I guess there's like kind of like a cloud that sticks to you, and there's these events, these patterns that follow you, and these symbols, and the whatever like entities are part of that, or whatever the magic is. This is going to sound really weird, but it communicates with you from the Wizard of Oz. Verify that for you. Like it's a trigger. It's to trigger some sort of reaction of the victims. Going forward a little bit, I was just like hanging out, and the spirit came. It reminded me a little bit of myself in that it was just kind of a really morose spirit and creative and poetic, but like just like depressed. It was trying to compare my friend Abraham Lincoln. I mean, I know this story sounds convoluted, but it's convoluted because it involves
magic. Motherfucker.
Can you tell us something more about the program?
I call these people MK Ultra kids because they, even though they're tethered to this thing, they are like, they're so broken mentally. They're so shattered. They don't really have any control over their lives or anything. Completely fucked up, and they're not really fully functioning adults.
That thing this afternoon, I'm so angry. It was chaos, fucking chaos.
What are you talking about, huh? I mean, today was great. Chaos is great. Chaos is what killed the dinosaurs, darling.
What your friend told you about his treatment in the program, can you describe some of his experiences, some of his retellings of what MK Ultra was?
Sexual abuse, like spy techniques, I guess, like disguise your handwriting, and like,
come on!
With most of the victims, it's sort of connect the dots with all the other things, because I don't know if they do that on purpose, if they mess up their mind so much that they can't reveal that much about it, like on purpose, but
yeah, we kind of need to talk about it more in the public eye. So how were you affected by interacting with those people, and what is your direct experience with that?
It was kind of scary.
Come on!
I think it was a special part of intelligence agency to create a special spies which were merged with spirits. Why he thought it was a failed project is that it's really difficult to merge human and a spirit without breaking a human.
I've made a huge mistake.
So in that sense, they had a statistically and proportionally small number of effective spies.
They're like a hive mind. They don't know what they're doing, but it's like a colony of ants. It's like they leave a chemical signal trail back to the colony.
You know what I want, babe?
Okay guys, so today we have a special guest for you, the most famous black magician out here, Koating. So
if you're gonna ask me just who I am, what I'm about, I'm just some guy and I'm about black magic. Specifically, I started seeing when I was a teenager trying to find information on how to work black magic. There was hardly anything. But more than anything, I saw a massive gap that was there. I actually read a book called The Dark Art or The Black Arts by Richard Cavendish. It was the worst book on black magic I've ever read in my life. It was 100% from a Catholic perspective. You know what? I can do better. Like, nobody else is writing anything else that could compete with this, but god damn it, somebody's got to.
Well, duh.
And so I actually sat down and started writing my second book, Force of Darkness. I started writing that as a response to all the bad books that were out there. And I'd always wanted to be a writer. I'd always had that as a fantasy in the background. But I never really, I thought maybe if a couple hundred people bought my book, that'd be cool. But I started seeing thousands of people would buy my books. They would sell out instantly. And there was something that I had that I was bringing to the table that maybe nobody else was, something that a lot of people seemed to want. So I wrote about I think 8 books. I'm gonna call it 8 books in my 20s to my 30s, while working like a full-time just job doing cabinetry and raising a daughter and having a life, and ended that with the Book of Azaza. I felt like I had pretty much had everything there, and I didn't think that I had much more to write about. So I actually made an announcement on my Facebook.
Really?
So Dany, what you can going on?
Well, I think people kind of know who the fuck you are, have this funny feeling, but...
That's crazy. So one thing I just gotta tell you, that's fucking, I don't know if you don't mind if I swear on your program, but that is fucking crazy to me. Like,
What did you say, dickhead?
I'll repeat myself.
it is crazy to me that there's that kind of recognition. That once again, I feel like I'm just the guy in my basement doing my crazy shit. But for that to be the reality of like that is nuts.
The extreme always seems to make an impression.
When we went live or started recording or whatever, we were talking about my shutdowns and the multiple incidents I've had with the police coming after me, and then the not just the police but the systems of the world, and
Fuck you, I was right! Fuck you, I was right! Fuck you, I was right!
Well, that's good. I want you to be surprised and off balance.
Sweet.
But yeah, if you're willing to talk about that, we can go into that. Is that cool?
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
It's a business opportunity.
One of the first interviews I did before me and Dimitri became partners was I kind of anonymously did an interview about my experiences with MUAY. If anyone wants to see that, if you search for it, it won't work because it's totally shadow banned. So you'll have to scroll back in the history, back a year and a half, I think, in order to find it. You can't Google Legion of Lilith and Killjoy. It won't take you anywhere.
Shut up and get to the point!
One of the really craziest things that happened with that, there was a little bit of an intersection with you. So I was helping, well, not just helping, I had 2 people that wandered into my life who were in MKUltra, and they were both trainees of the famous beatnik author William Burroughs. One of the people was stalking me and actually broke into my house and tried to kill me. The other one actually was a pretty nice person, and they were physically disabled from the abuse and the torture and everything that, had been done to him. What was interesting was that I came to know them separately, but I found out that they both had been trainees of William Burroughs. And then I also found out that one of the ones that I met, the guy that came and stalked me and broke into my house and tried to kill me, had done that to the other person as well that was in MKUltra. The nice one. One day I had a spirit come to me. Spirit was kind of a melancholy, sort of poetic, sort of depressed, really dense spirit. it really kind of reminded me of myself in a lot of ways. And that spirit kept trying to impress on me that my friend, that he was comparing my friend to Abraham Lincoln, and he was really emphatic about it. I had no idea what this meant. I called up my friend and I said, there's a spirit here that is trying to compare you to Abraham Lincoln and he won't leave me alone. And by the way, you said that your grandfather, aka William Burroughs, always read you his favorite poem. I'm just curious, what was the poem? And he's like, well, my grandfather always read me this poem and he was trying to compare me to Abraham Lincoln. I told you that story in 2014 when I was in Utah. That's as far as I had gotten, was just that basically that the spirit was reminding my friend about this poem about Abraham Lincoln, and you stopped me. And you said, oh, Captain, my captain. And I said, that's fucking it.
Right, yes. That was absolutely tremendous. I thought I was good.
So, and it's not just, I mean, it's just, if you don't mind me just rapping on some of my thoughts about this, is that's not just a spirit reminding him of a pretty poem. That's not a pretty poem.
I mean, look at this. Look at it!
Oh, Captain, my captain is a trigger word. This is a trigger phrase. This is used to pull somebody into a state. Now, the crazy thing is, how do I know? Do I know that because I'm psychic and I pulled that from your mind? Or do I know that for some other reason? I actually don't know. Look, there are so many mysteries and circumstances and strange things behind my birth, my multiple families, my adoption, the way that I was raised in what seems, now that I look back, a very intentional, torturous environment with a lot of phrases like these being told to me as a child. And I don't know exactly what "Oh Captain, my captain" is supposed to trigger a person to do, but absolutely that is a trigger phrase, and that's usually drilled into you at some point during trauma, whether that's either you're being threatened, sexually abused, or in any way abused, that you enter into a fight-flight response. That this is when these inputs will be made.
Everybody got that?
Yeah, and what you told me at the time was that when you hear that phrase or when you hear that poem being recited, that you disassociate. And when I would just be out with a person hanging out, like going to a restaurant or like whatever.
Here I am, just debating where to eat, and then bam, there you are.
Some old creepy dude would come up and say, "Hey, Captain."
Yeah, no, I had that. Actually, I've had that experience a few times where just doing different random shit. At Burning Man party, and somebody comes up and they're like, "Hey, are you the captain of this boat?"
What the fuck is?
Here's what I've got a question for you. Then is like, are those operators that are aware of what they're doing, or are they just responding? They have no idea what they're saying. That they're just responding to their own programming. And then I'm gonna go a little deeper with it.
Oh yeah!
Like, are they ants following a chemical trail?
So chemical trails. Well. There's also I've gone through the justice system a few times for sexual assault of myself and other people, and you get completely ignored. There's absolutely no justice for sexual offenses, and it really started eating me up. Why are there so many child molesters allowed to be free? Why are they everywhere? Because they want them everywhere. Because the more traumatized you are, the more receptive you are to this programming.
Move it! You know Gary Glitter is, right?
What?
Notorious pedophile. Notorious pedophile. Makes Bryan Singer look like a saint.
Yeah, but if you're gonna peel back the fucking cover on Hollywood, aren't they fucking all doing that shit? I mean, come on.
No. Gary Glitter is notorious. He's such a pedophile that he had to go to Thailand. No, I'm not done yet. They kicked him out of Thailand for being such a notorious pedophile. He was too much of a pedophile for Thailand.
Wow. How does that happen? Like, what the fuck are you looking for in the alley?
Anything goes.
Stop!
But it does have a flip side where the more traumatized you are, sometimes that opens up a lot of different capabilities that you can use against them for your own liberty.
Tell me, are you happy with our deal?
You bet. Absolutely.
I didn't think we'd get everything packed up, but the kids made a game of it.
Leave now.
So I did a really controversial investigation with MUAY on those specific sets of issues. And the problem with this investigation of mine was that I received information from the Spirit which seemed to be true and backed out by external sources later on. So the goal of this, how this all started, is like I wanted to take the energy of those rituals, transform them into something else, and then use them for my own benefit to make the world a better place. It's like infestation of those rooms or realms or whatever, and then alchemically taking the energy, processing it, and doing it and making something else with it. And then first thing I was told by Mojo himself was like, boy, you need to calm down. Like, and then he explained to me that it's actually a really refined system, and it's technically a mathematical thing. So let's say you live in a big city, and every day you meet around 3,000 people. And we know that the trauma is like a virus. It spreads. They need to have around 1 in 3,000 hollow and traumatized as fuck. And then that's why one guy will infest so they need to have 0.03% actually raped people in childhood in order to keep the virus going. And there is almost nothing metaphysical here. It doesn't require advanced understanding of the dark arts.
What do you want?
I want you to tell me about you.
You're not gonna get into my head, man. Your David Koresh shit isn't gonna work on
Tell me how he died.
So back in the day, they had like public human sacrifices to trigger the mechanism of the beast.
Well, in my book, you either do it right or you get eliminated.
But when that got outlawed, they simply used the most effective method which they can pull under the rug.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it.
That's why they'll never let me be president for that reason. Like, yeah, I don't even think they'll let me be mayor. But because of that, because there is the amount of self-compromisation that you have to do to get into power. In power was at Epstein's Island.
I mean, come on!
Between the years of 2020 to 2025, that we are witnessing the crumbling of the not even the current system, the previous system. It's crumbling down around our ears, and I think we've only got a couple years before the bubble pops, and we've got to pick up all the pieces and put this world back together.
And then
Necro Nicki!
Whoa, Nicki, you're so fine, you blow my mind, ain't Nicki?
Nice.
And Mojo El Diablo,
Editor of Anarchy magazine.
paranormal artist and comic creator and animator and motherfucker. It's really difficult to introduce guys such as this.
I mean, come on!
You are like hardcore motherfucker.
Well, you're not hardcore. Unless you live hardcore.
I wanted to ask Mojo because like how I got into the occult is a really weird. 2 suicide attempts and both of them were kind of prevented by paranormal bullshit. But there is also one thing I did which is kind of guided me into the occult. I used to extensively write poetry.
You said you did poetry,
Yeah.
you need a beret, because poets always wear berets.
Yeah, I need the break. But the thing is, I would like, during writing, I would like fall into trance and I would like blank out. During writing, I would just like write and I wouldn't remember what I was writing. I would just see images and it would take me over. And later on, when I got into the occult, I figured out, wait a minute, this is possession, you know? So I gonna ask Mojo, do you ever have that creative possession while you are doing your shit?
Sometimes, usually caused by weed, but I haven't smoked weed in a while, because everybody switched to fucking indicas and I like sativas.
You piece of shit, stoner!
So you told me yesterday you had like some hardcore shit back in the day with dead people and murders and shit.
The Alta Cienega is this motel on La Cienega and Santa Monica, right? And it's where Jim Morrison's ghost still lives at.
I've been there. We walked there once.
Yeah, but you've never been to the Jim Morrison room.
Well, I was a couple feet away from it.
Yeah, but have you actually been in the room? It's literally like you see pictures.
No, but I was there.
Get on with it.
20 years ago, 03, I was dating some chick. I didn't fuck her good enough, so his ghost possessed me, so I fucked her better.
Hashtag ghost. Israel.
Jim Morrison.
Hey, you know,
Like a boss.
When ghost fully possesses you, do you like yell ghost fucking through you, like doing the thing, or are you just like euphoric because ghost is inside? How it fucking feels?
You go blank, like you don't remember anything. And by the way, that was her plan B. You know what her plan A was? She wanted to go to Errol Flynn's abandoned mansion and fuck there. You know why we did it? Too many spiders.
Whoa, that's a crazy spider.
Yeah, you have a lot of scary ones, and I know you're definitely...
Holy fuck, there's another one.
It is one of your biggest fear.
And one of my spirit animals. But yeah, that's crazy though.
What's really crazy is Necro Nicki's first experience with the supernatural. Let's get the show on the road, after all.
It's showtime.
There was an experience I had in Mojo's room where I actually felt a succubus, like I could actually feel her. He doesn't remember it. And what's crazy is I almost don't want to say it was Lilith, and it's funny how I'm saying this on Legion of Lilith.
Yeah, there it is! There it is!
But I got actually confirmation from her that it was her. And this is kind of weird, but I'm actually attracted to hags. Like, I think hags are hot.
What?
I mean, I know Mojo for a really long time. We were just, you know, besties back in the day, and we were hanging out in his bed, and then all of a sudden, I could feel this and see her, this hag gene.
I'll swallow your soul!
You know in The Shining, where they have that, like, hag, it's like a hot girl, and she turns into a hag, like, she, like, seduces him? It was like that, but in his bed, and then it was crazy, because I could see her, and I could feel her, and that was the first time I ever felt a spirit, and she started fisting my vagina.
What did you say, dickhead?
I'll repeat myself.
She started fisting my vagina.
What the fuck?
Just so you know, what you saw was probably Saturnian aspect of Lord. Like, if you saw like a really sexual, fucked up hot creature, which was kind of heavy and purposefully grotesque, that's like a really rare form of Lilith, and that's a form of Lilith I actually thought only 2 people to work with.
Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Because majority of people can't handle it. Majority of people work with only like more vanilla forms of this entity. But basically this is what she does. She makes people like horny and puts them in trances, and then she comes in a really, really grotesque, fucked up form and does shit to them. Example of what
hardcore. Have you seen Culty has a aspect like that too? Have you ever seen that before?
I've worked with her a great deal, but I haven't really had a physical manifestation. But yeah, it was really trippy though, because it's like literally feeling her hands, you know?
That's insane, man.
Fisting me, by the way. It's not like, oh, she just touched me and gave me a pat on the back.
The extreme always seems to make an impression.
Demetrius, have you worked closely with Baba Yaga? Like, I remember last time I was on your channel, we were talking about how I was like finally getting in with my roots and working with Morena and the Leshy and the Kikimora. But I recently started working with Baba Yaga. Have you worked closely with her? I don't know if I've seen any videos on your channel about her.
So basically, you probably didn't, because there are no any. But yeah, I worked with Baba Yaga, and she is basically, how to describe her energy. That's if you mix like Forest Fae energy with Saturnian Lilith energy, and then you put that on steroids.
Oh yeah!
Okay, so happy autumn equinox, everybody.
What the fuck is going on?
Part of my autumn equinox ritual was to dedicate this forest. I call it the secret forest, but now I call it the Leshy forest because I know better.
Everybody got that?
So I live in Indiana, and where I live, it's kind of suburban, but then there's foresty areas too, not too far from my house. And what's crazy is there's this little like hut made out of sticks, and you've seen it, Mojo. He said
It looks like straight out of the Blair Witch, yes.
it looks fucking gnarly, but basically it's an altar to Baba Yaga, and I was about to dedicate this forest to Belial, and I brought like different offerings. Whenever I give offering to the forest, it's always stuff that's like biodegradable, like a lemon or, you know, like stuff like that. And I was making a trail. So this forest I've been to like a million times. They're like almost every other day. And so as I'm leaving the trail, I'm like, what the hell? This is really weird. Like I got lost. And I know exactly how to get to the Baba Yaga altar or her hut. And then I realized later on that the Leshy, the master of the forest, the man of the forest, was telling me,
no, you're not dedicating this forest to Belial.
And he got me lost, really scary because it was getting dark. And then I was listening to other people's experience with the Leshy, and I didn't know this, but sometimes he'll trick people and get them lost. So basically he told me, and it's like, sorry Belial, like you're a badass motherfucker, but no.
Yeah, I want to weigh in on this.
Excellent!
So me and Dimitri worked with a Fae a shitload when we were in Montenegro. Thankfully, the Fae that we were working with were really specific about the rules. And one of those rules was if we call something that is infernal in their space, that we have to close the gate when we call them. That was their condition. And yeah, and it was the mountain spirit.
About the rules, close the gate.
Yeah, dude. Have you worked with Domo Boy?
The house, yeah, Domo are spirits of the house. I work with those fuckers every day.
Worst segue to a different topic ever.
Talking about Death Deities.
Oh, Death Deities, yeah. So I work with a lot.
So, like, did she come to you in any specific aspects? Like, because she has different ones, and I find them so fucking interesting, and they're so opposite end of the spectrum, like...
Oh, yeah, for sure. For me, she actually comes to me only in a Reaper aspect, and when I used to be really big on sex magic, I don't know if I'm getting old, but I don't really do sex magic as much as I used to. But when I would, I remember, like, there was one offering I was gonna give to Satan, and, like, the first time I almost saw her, she, like, appeared to me, and she was like, no, I'm taking that, and she appeared in her Reaper form. So I actually have a statue of her in her Reaper form in, like, red.
So she came to me in a really specific, it was La Negra. She was explaining to me everything. It was weird because La Negra is associated with a lot of baneful magic, but she still wanted me to call her in the Catholic way. But at the same time, I've never heard this talked about with La Negra, but she was super, super sexual too. I feel like La Negra kind of encompasses, and I've been told this by some people that work with her, that she kind of encompasses all the colors, all the aspects. She also came to me in her like Native American form. I was like walking through the cemetery and I was like, what is she doing here? Like, there's nobody here. Like, why is she sitting on a grave? And then I saw sitting next to her was all the offerings I've given her.
That sounds awesome.
I've noticed when I call Santa Muerte that other sort of death goddesses come, and I don't know what it is. I don't know if they're competing with her or it's because they have this connection with her. But when I call Santa Muerte, like when I was at Dimitri's, where Lil's energy is so strong that she physically manifests in front of his family members. That's how strong it is. And so whenever I would try and call Santa Muerte when I was there, I would just get either Lilith or like Dimitri's succubus.
Yeah, I heard that Leshy too is associated with the horned owl, which is an owl that I'm really close with.
It's common for people to work with the Virgin Mary and Santa Muerte at the same time because when they have the Santa Muerte statues in their house, the energy can be so dark and so intense. But
actually, in my bedroom, upon popular belief, I actually have a Virgin Mary altar in my room for like healing and shit like that. For me, closely associated with the death, but it's more of like that like healing type of energy.
Yeah.
So she's really been helping me with like not associating with like people who have been like abusive in my life.
So Nama is really, when she comes to me sometimes in the form of a nun.
That was diabolical.
Do you work with ancestors at all? Have you done any voodoo? Have you worked with the Gede or the Barons at all?
Yeah, I've done quite a work with like Voodoo, mainly Baron Samedi and Papa Legba. I have a couple spirited dolls, so they're really adamant and like protective of them. Like they don't want like anyone else getting a hold of them. And if I ever even have a thought of that, they'll like literally fucking like shake me.
What the fuck is going on?
Have you had any experience doing ancestor work before?
I am about it. I know like my grandpa especially is like really protective of me.
And then...
Remember the last time we hung out at that Hollywood mansion and it was in the same neighborhood as the Charles Manson?
Oh yeah, Marcus's house. You can still see it from Marcus's balcony on the roof.
Yeah.
If you look up Other Hill, that's where Boy George lives.
Tell him stories of Anton LaVey's fucking son. He knew him and actually hung out with him.
Oh, this is funny. I went to hang out with Stan LaVey, the heir to the Satanic Church. I go to the Partridge Family Temple, an actual cult dedicated to the fucking Partridge family. Come on! I've known Giddle Partridge for like 20 years now. Isn't that crazy? And I thought they were just a band.
Cause first time I ever met Giddle Partridge, I went to this place in Silver Lake called Spaceland, and it was the Jim Freak Awards, when it had all these weird bands playing, and one of the bands playing was the Partridge Family Temple. I thought, okay, that's just a cool band. No, it's an actual cult. What? I've also known Matthew Roberts for almost 20 years, and then Stan LeVay's an asshole. I don't like it. Cool for the first 15 minutes, and after that, you're gonna strangle him.
What the fuck are you talking about?
The son of Charles Manson calls me, and I go, hey, Stanton, it's Matthew. And then Stanton answers the phone, hey, cult leader from another cult. I tried my hardest not to laugh.
I felt like Beavis and Butthead when they weren't allowed to laugh. You're like,
We're gonna be talking about the penis. We'll be talking about the vagina. Do you think that's funny, Butthead?
I'm Butthead, remember?
So I told you the story about the trainee of William Burroughs that stalked me and broke into my house and tried to. He was really good friends with Giddle.
Get on with it.
Yes, get on with it.
so after Stanton talks to Matthew, he gives the phone back to me, and then Matthew's all,
Oh, by the way, you know he's a product of incest.
so he's not just the grandson of Anton LaVey. Well, no.
Anton fucked his daughter and Stanton's the product.
How do you know that?
Well, remember that time when Madam Sunset had us hang out? We bonded and we told the truth about ourselves.
And that's how I know. Because Beasley started the Legion of Doom before I had a chance to.
Alexander LaVey fucked his daughter and Stanton is the product, right?
Yes, and that's why he's such a piece of shit. Or was.
I want to cry, but I'm so high that I can't.
There was this one guy who in Hollywood, I won't say his name, but he's kind of like a nobody, but he likes to interview people. And he kept we'd schedule things and it wouldn't happen or whatever. Unprofessional, so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna let this guy interview me. But he knew Stan and he was interviewing him, and I said, hey, well, if I wanna fuck Stanton, can I fuck him after you interview him? And he said, no, I mean, he has a wife. I don't think he would
I've made a huge mistake.
I think the funniest thing was his eulogy after he died, because it's so
Bullshit. 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 Bullshit.
Bullshit.
Shall take my hand. Here there's no work away. Only one bill to pay. There's just one thing to say. We go down.
It is with heavy hearts that we announce the passing of Stanton Zaroff LaVey, age 44. Stanton was a beloved husband, father, and friend.
Without even trying,
Larger-than-life villain in the eyes of some and hero in the eyes of many. Stanton was a brilliant writer and an intellectual genius and talented in art.
If intellectual means inbred piece of shit annoying asshole, yeah, go for it.
Snap.
I'm gonna take this opportunity to jump in here. So fucking Nikki, last time we had you on here, I forgot what the fuck we were talking about, and everyone in the comments was like,
Oh shit, what was Nikki gonna say about MK Ultra?
remember?
Oh yeah, my MK Ultra moment. So I was an adult film actress. After I decided to retire, I got paranoid as fuck. It was to the point where my next boyfriend after that, I was just convinced. I met this guy on a dating website and I was like,
They sent you.
Seem to have an open door policy for assholes, bro, don't they?
So Dany, tell more about your paranormal experiences with celebrities and shit.
So back when I was in elementary school, there was this one park that we would go to at the end of the school year, and there was this one bathroom that was notoriously haunted because some murder or some satanic shit happened. What? So I remember all the kids, because you're 5th grade, you don't know better, made a cross out of pencils and go, by the power of Satan, come out!
Really?
I never did any research on it, but I know it's still haunted to this day. It's in Buena Park, California. And the reason why it probably did have some satanic shit happening is because I remember back when I was a little kid, the Night Stalker would be hitting that area.
The extreme always seems to make an impression.
What was the Night Stalker known for?
I mean, come on.
One of the people I work with, this guy named Beaver, BVR. Besides running security and also being the manager of the Rainbow, he also ran a rehearsal studio. And one of his customers was Richard Ramirez.
Resurrect Me, man. That's what that song was about. Richard Ramirez, about when I had an encounter with him, I think in January 1985 in Whittier, California, down in my studio. Remember him coming down with his friend, but they called him Ricky, and he had a hoodie on. He came down and we had a big conversation about the death. And I remember we were talking, what would happen after you die? What happens to you? What do you do? And he was quiet. He was mumbling around. He was fucking to some people, and then he got into the conversation. And he looked real serious, and he said, I don't want no one to forget me. I want someone to fucking resurrect me. And if you listen to the words of the song, you can hear that. I wrote the song later, probably 2-3 years later. And if you can, when I found out that it was actually him that was down in the studio at that time, if you listen to the song, it has, Antichrist and Here to Stay, it has all the things of when he killed people. But he was in the studio. He came to the studio and hung out. Of course, I was right in the vicinity around where he killed everybody. You know what I mean? Yeah. But that was back in the day. That was, I think, January of 1985. I think that's about when it was. But the song "Resurrect Me," that song was written about Richard Ramirez.
You admit to being evil, Richard?
We are all evil in some form or another, are we not?
What's crazy about that is similar to how Pennywise was loosely based off of John Wayne Gacy, Visago from Hideaway was loosely based off of the exploits of Ramirez. Have you ever read the book or seen the movie starring Jeff Goldblum? It starts with Visago killing himself and he gets resurrected. So basically, like, the concept of Hideaway is, what if the stuff that Ramirez was talking about was real? Every victim he kills, he turns into an art piece. And he's linked to this main character played by Jeff Goldblum. And they're like linked together because they both die at the same time and then get resurrected through like medical science.
That sounds, anything with Jeff Goldblum, I'm game.
You never seen that movie?
No.
I gotta warn you though, the weird thing about that movie though is it was in the mid-90s when he was still leading mad status, when he's not Jeff Goldbluming it up, when he was just Jeff Goldblum actually trying to act.
Well, he's always said Jeff Goldblum.
Well, no, he wasn't like, I'm Jeff Goldblum. He's like leading man, like father worried about his daughter character. But the reason why I like that movie so much is the fucking soundtrack. That soundtrack rivals the Mortal Kombat soundtrack. You got KMFDM, Godflesh. Hell, the first time I ever heard Fear Fact, and one of the best fucking goth bands ever, fucking Miranda Sex Garden. Best album by Miranda Sex Garden, you'll love the name, A Fairy Tale of Slavery. That album is like fucking just goth gold.
So follow up on the Partridge Family and the MK Ultra thing. So he told me that if I said I was raped, I could get an abortion for free. That was a long time ago. Jesus Christ. I didn't say that. I didn't say that.
No way. Yes way.
You're gonna laugh why I'm asking this question though, but is Set a thing?
Well, yeah, Set is a fucking, like, Egyptian, like, satanic god.
Well, duh.
I've been on a nerd kick. Watching the Conan, the Saturday morning cartoon on Tubi for my therapy, and the main villain is Set.
I also watched that when I was a kid. It's like,
Oh, you watched that too?
Yeah. That is like a god of serpent people, and Diamond the Sorcerer wants to open a portal to bring Set into the world. It was one of my favorite cartoons when I was a kid. You know what a lot of authors do? They take real gods from real religions and mythologies, and then they twist them a little bit and put them into the movies in order for movies to be more popular.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Because there's two different versions of Set in the, we'll say, comics, and Robert E. Howard, who created Conan back in the 20s.
Fuck you! I was right! Fuck you! I was right! Fuck you! I was right!
What's really hilarious is, you know Robert E. Howard's best friend was?
H.P. Lovecraft.
Yes, isn't that fucking crazy?
Oh my god, you fucking
nerd! That ties into MK Ultra.
Really? Why?
So Michael Aquino, who ran
It's kind of good I brought this up.
who was the leader of MK Ultra, also ran the Temple of Set. Michael Aquino is a big figure in it.
MK Ultra! You've been hypnotized!
Vampire the Masquerade, there's actually a clan called the Followers of Set. There's actually the evilest vampires too.
Yeah, we had like a military intelligence guy who was in the Temple of Set on the channel. We interviewed him. He was.
Oh, so it's actually a real thing. It's not just a thing on Vampire the Masquerade.
Fuck me gently with the chainsaw. Do I look like Mother Teresa?
Speaking of MK Ultra, is like a term.
I don't know.
Shut up and get to the point!
Ironically, the first time I ever heard the term MK Ultra was that song by Rebel Rebel.
Say what?
Like Rebel Rebel was this band who was banned from every venue in LA from 99 to like, I want to
That's
say.
crazy how they still play though. They're kind of hot as fuck. Like I would fuck them.
My name is Rocket and I'm Rebel Rebel's #1 groupie. Rebel Rebel rule. This guy has a talent for cigarette. Give it. Putting cigarettes out on his head. I do not do drugs. I'm schizophrenic. And it's all a punk put on by a band called Rebel Rebel.
The undisputed heavyweight punk rock champion of the world.
They throw things and smash things up. We're not new, but Rebel Rebel sets things on fire and throws raw meat at the crowd. We're not original. Rebel Rebel just makes a big mess. We're exciting, that's all that matters, you know? Punk rockers Rebel Rebel are not only here to rock, but to shock. We're going to destroy this stage and then we're going to destroy the rest of America. In line with punk, dark, irreverent humor, but disavowing any lofty punk rock ideals, Rebel Rebel says it's just all entertainment. Everybody's gonna make money. We can have too much money. Everybody wants it, but a lot of people won't admit it. So Rebel Rebel hopes to shock and sing their way into punk fame and fortune. You meet the people, you get adulation.
First time I ever heard of them is when I was reapplying for Not Scary Farm, and like some guy told me about Rebel Rebel. And then a few years later, or a few months later, I go to the Coconut Teaser with my friend Rock Rod. They're doing their Glitter Glam Fest thing, and I'm Rebel Rebel's playing.
Fuck yeah!
It was the only place that we're still allowed to play because of change of the decade. They really milked the whole Y2K thing to the point where every
they have a lot of like destruction. Like for example, the Germs, they were banned at a lot of venues, and then they ended up like changing their name to something else so they can actually play at venues.
All Tennessee's did that with, that's why they have indexed groups. But yeah, what Rebel Rebel did was every venue they'd play, they would destroy because they thought the world was gonna end.
I mean, that's what fucking the Germs would do. They would say, we're calling for destruction. Like, people would, like, fucking destroy the light fixtures and shit.
They would bring people with them to trash venues. Like, they They burn like you know there's a whiskey next door to that one bar next door.
Yeah.
Well, that used to be part of the whiskey. They burned that down in '99. Oh shit, this song's cool too.
Good thing I don't hear the music that you're playing.
I invented a dance every time I called it. Called it. Get
on with it.
Yes, get on with it.
Do you guys know about Coil and like Psychic TV? I made a documentary about transition, the chick from Psychic TV and
Are you flexing, Demetrius? Fuck you, man. Look how big my muscles are.
Yeah.
I got flabby arms.
What the fuck is this?
Do you like ASMR, Danny or Demetrius?
Yeah, I watch your channel a lot of the time actually. I think your channel's really good. I love watching, like, have you seen Atmosphere, her ASMR channel? That's so dope.
Oh yeah, I love her shit too. Yeah, cause she'll do some like kind of like cyberpunk stuff or like Victorian. Yeah, I love her stuff. So like, for me, I'll get like tingles just like thinking about really nostalgic stuff, like sewing, or like I'll have like an ASMR like reaction to it.
I can relate to you because I think we're both really, really, really necromantic, and we probably are both like history and like, you know, you're so into like the punk rock from like before your time kind of thing.
You mean real punk, not this pop fucking? My mommy won't buy me a guitar.
Nag.
I don't know.
You notice that?
I don't listen to any punk past like 1983, so I don't know.
exactly.
5. I mean, Black Flag broke up in 85, so technically, yeah.
Okay, 85 then. I'll give it to that.
Like, my punk catalog is not big for like what I'm about.
My favorite band of all time is the Cramps.
My favorite punk band is the Germs.
Of course.
And I do really like Black Flag too.
Which version though? The
I'm into Chavo. Chavo's sexy.
I mean, I liked Husker Du too, and I liked X. I don't know like how lame it is to like X.
I like X too. They're so cute.
Do you remember X's side projects like fucking Original Sinners or the Knitters?
Oh, I never heard of that. But that sounds cool because I'm like an old cat.
They're more country sounding.
Ooh, which is right up my alley.
People are like, why do I go to Hollywood all the time? Because I'm treated like a celebrity because I am one. I mean, come on. On the internet, I gotta struggle to try to get 100 fucking views. And like some like fucking like reaction video or an AI gets like lots of fucking views because of the algorithm.
Nag.
I'm just cartoony right now. Like, I was in the hospital a couple days ago from drinking too much because I've been drinking from June to...
Whatever.
Needless to say, I don't drink anymore, so I'm kind of like healing a little bit. I haven't left my house in like 3 weeks. So I've been kind of like hallucinating a little bit. Not bad ones. Like, my cat doesn't talk to me.
Hallucinating?
Yeah, like, I'm schizophrenic bipolar. So, when I have a really bad episode, my cat will talk to me. Yeah, like, it's the voice in my head, but it has a face. Hey, fucker! Give me food! You're a loser!
Wow.
Well, you know what's really crazy? So I have this new doctor I go to in Yorba Linda. It's like a Disneyland. It's all decorated and all like positive energy type of place. Where basically you almost won't look forward to getting sick just to go there. Come on! Right when I get into the doctors, the patient right ahead of me is the bass player to fucking DI.
I hate surfing in HB.
That's like a good sign that you go to a cool doctor. Wow!
Get on with it.
So Mojo, can you tell us like everything you know about Stanton LaVey and Anton LaVey and all of that crazy stuff?
Well, I talked about it in the last video.
What did you say, dickhead?
I'll repeat myself.
I went to hang out with Stan LaVey.
Oh, by the way, you know he's a product of incest.
What the fuck?
I know Xena's no longer a Satanist, but she practices witchcraft and does a lot of sort of like live magical performances and rituals. Like she works with Kali and different things like that. She seems like actually really like a cool person.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, like I said, when you have like a douchebag dad like that who fucking rapes your ass, you gotta eventually come out somehow cool. You know, think of Luke Skywalker versus Vader if you catch my drift.
Your skills are complete.
So you told me earlier that you were like friends with son of Charles Manson.
It's Charlie Manson's kid, Matthew Roberts.
Can you tell me like what you know about Charlie Manson and his son and that shit? Because I think that's cool.
Well, the way I found out about New Rising Sun, I used to follow this band called Krell. It's 2002 right here. I go see Krell at Bar Sinister. opening up is this band called New Rising Sun. And the opening song is,
what would you do if you found out Charlie Manson raped your mom? That motherfucker. Would you hate him? Thank him? Or cut him down?
So he was being serious. It wasn't a joke song. So I'd follow him around. He started off kind of as a friend of me because, I was banging his wife. And then later on, we just became friends. And then he was on my second compilation in 05. But yeah, like I've hung out with him a few times actually. Like I've been to that one place where he had that, I told you, that retreat. I went there in the hills once to hang with him. But finally, years later, I make up for fucking his wife by hooking him up with 2 hot strippers. So we're buddies.
Fuck yeah! Be buddies about shit.
A man with no motive is a man no one suspects.
Can you tell me what you know about Charlie Manson?
He was a cult leader. He was a failed musician. He was thrown out of the rainbow a few times, according to what my friend Bieber told me. He tried out for the Beach Boys and didn't get the gig. Convinced his cult leaders to kill the Beach Boys, and oops, sorry, wrong house.
Oh, that's how the Manson murders happened. That's how they killed, Sharon Tate. But his, Sharon Tate was married to the director.
Roman Polanski.
He directed some of the greatest horror movies, like The Ninth Gate and
Listeners, baby.
Shut up and get to the point!
I find him to be one of the most overrated serial killers of all time. Because for one, he never got his fucking hands dirty. For two, his music sucked. If we're gonna go by serial killers who got their hands dirty and their music was awesome, Richard motherfucking Ramirez.
Really? Why?
Richard Ramirez is fucking metal.
Fuck you! I was right! Fuck you! I was right! Fuck you! I was right!
That's how my friend Bieber knew him. Danielle will show you the video I made.
We are all evil in some form or another. Are we not?
You know who the greatest serial killer of all time is, though? Who also was involved with the occult? Elizabeth motherfucking Bathory.
The last video we did, I made Lilith as Elizabeth Bathory. It's the photo. We just premiered it today.
You know her body count was?
It was in the hundreds.
Yeah,
wasn't
like
it?
basically people would she would kidnap a girl every day, slaughter them, bathe in her blood, and she would do them all slaughter in her fucking cell. Her and her girlfriend. Greatest serial killer of all time, and she did it because she thought blood made her youthful, which is an occult thing. Fuck Charlie Manson. Team Liz, motherfucker.
Ted Bundy tried to murder my mom in the 70s. She was catching the bus just directly across the street from her house. He was parked there. He had the sling on as a decoy. He just said, hey, can you help me out? As soon as he opened his mouth to speak to her, he had an absolutely horrible feeling. And she just felt afraid for her life, even though it was broad daylight and there was other people around. And she said no. He was so successful at what he did because he was an attractive guy.
That was diabolical!
Ted Bundy tried to stop me from being born, so that's kind of cool.
My recent ex, Layla, the way she was conceived was her mom watched a documentary about Richard Ramirez, got so scared that she ended up going to a Tejano bar. That's how Layla's mom met Layla's dad. That's another person you need to get on your show, like a hardcore Satanist, occult woman herself. Grandma's house is haunted.
I'm from Texas, but I always hate going back. Not because, oh, I hate Texas, blah, blah, blah. Just every time I'm back, there's always something going on, like, oh, your dog died, or your sister's having a baby, or some
bullshit.
My grandmother died. And it sucked. It really sucked because, I was her favorite. But yeah, I was a mess. So after the funeral, how family and friends all go to a house and mourn and eat and, just hang out. Well, this one was at her sister's, my Tia Olivia's house. Now, you know how there's those jokes about the Kukui room and all those Latin houses and all that stuff? Well, we didn't have a Kukui room, we had a...
The ghost says, I see you in Latin.
Well, she had this house and it had all of its original 70s interior, really beautiful, perfect yard, and a ghost, several ghosts. We talked to her about it one time and she says, oh no, they're my friend, which made us a little creeped out.
Creepy house is the best!
But anywho, my brother-in-law's never been to this place, so on the car ride over there, he tells us that he needs to go pee.
Botsy, botsy, botsy!
My sister and I just kind of look at each other and told him, just letting you know, if it feels like someone's watching you in the bathroom, chances are there is.
It's like full circle.
Oh, I'd love to talk to her.
Get on with it.
Yes! Get on with it!
I want to hear about any entertainment scene in LA. It sounds so dangerous and predatory. Do you have any stories about ruin
of women. I just imagine that, like, if
I
you're a
remember
girl.
one third-generation adult film actor. Her mom, and her grandma all fuck Ron Jeremy. What? I remember one time I was at the Rainbow. She was hanging out with an animal. She whispers in my ear, "Save me!" I can spot speech patterns. You know, is when you're drunk. Is when you're on roofies. So she was on roofies. She was about to get gang raped, but of course it's none of my business, so I stay out of it. What the fuck? Long story short, you know who comes to her rescue? Ron Jeremy.
Fucking diabolical.
Yes, Ron Jeremy rescued a girl from getting date raped.
Really?
That's why this whole thing about Ron Jeremy, like, guilty of
Bullshit. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Shit! Suffers from narcolepsy. You can't be a rapist if you have narcolepsy. The worst thing that will happen is they'll fall asleep on it. Like, after Lemmy died, he was #1 on the Sunset Strip when it came to, like, local celebrities. By default, I am the mascot. And I haven't done shit.
So you know Lemmy Kilmister, right?
I've had 2 interactions with Lemmy. One, I bonded with him, say what's up to him, and told him I'm a fan of Hawkwind and Motorhead, obviously. I know him. I knew his translator very well. I knew his manager very well. And also, I used to hang out at his neighbor's house.
Really?
My friend Bobby Moore, 4 doors down from Blend.
No way. Yes way.
There's a few times I would bring some crazy people, like my friend Edward from Kennel Cadaver.
I daydream every day about taking as many fucking lives as I fucking possibly can.
And then the next day, I run into Lemmy at the Rainbow. He's like,
what the fuck is going on?
Only a third time. And the third time was when he cock-blocked me. I call it, welcome to the strip. You are officially one of us now. That's what I always am. This is when I was still new. I'm walking around, and I run into Steven Adler, you know, drummer of Guns N' Roses. So, hey, wanna hang out? I'm all, sure, Steven Adler. So I go with him to the Cat Club, because he's playing with the Starfuckers, some all-star jam. And I go in the smoking patio, I run into CC'sville from Poison. He's all hyper and shit. And then they left out shots of Jaeger, the band, and no one would drink them, so I drank all of them. I went to the Rainbow, and 2 hot cougars were hitting on me. And Lemmy shows up and cock blocks me.
Oh, snap.
Speaking of more crazy rock and roll stories.
Back in 2004, me and Junie, make things less confusing. My friend Juan has like 5 people in his family named Juan. How do you differentiate yourself? He goes by Junie. Cousin Juan, he goes by Juanito. And another one is named Juan Pablo. And we call him Pablo. Don't you have a relative named Pablo? Yeah. Doesn't that get confusing? He's all, yeah.
Shut up and get to the point.
Went to a wedding in Ensenada. And I was really trash because I was binge drinking like I always do. And have you ever been to a Mexican wedding? They have bride throws the bouquet and then the husband throws the garter.
Everybody got that?
Junie dared me to catch the garter when it's thrown in the crowd, right? And it lands around my wrist like horseshoes. And I'm all, ew! And I throw it back. Needless to say, I'm never going back to Ensenada because apparently I have to marry somebody.
Can we talk more about celebrities?
I'm really good friends with Dina from Fear Factor.
It's a business opportunity.
All right, we're about me now.
I'm gonna clean the slate as much as I do.
I've been shy lately. I haven't really talked to people in a bit just because of my whole situation.
But why?
Until 2017, every year at San Diego Comic Con,
it is what
me
it
and my
is.
brother outdrink the entire city because San Diegans can't drink.
Snap.
And I get myself into trouble. Like the last time we interviewed the composers, it was great. We interviewed Junkie XL, and then also we interviewed John Ottman.
Dude, Ottman is one of my fucking heroes, man.
No, he loves me.
Score for Superman Returns. He took the original fucking Williams soundtrack and breathed new life into it. I can't even listen to the original shit anymore. Like, it doesn't even, like, sound right. Plus, Ottman gave Lex Luthor his own theme, Superman Returns. They never did that. They never put in Superman 1 or 2. He edited and did the score for the X-Men movie.
Shut the fuck up and get to the point.
The first time we interviewed him, he was like, he had a date on Grindr, he was getting nervous.
That's so hot. That is so fucking hot. That's fucking personal knowledge.
So, of course, you know me, I always have my own booze with. I shared, he was happy with it. Following year, we interviewed him. I'm all, how did that date go? He was going through like a major crisis that year, too. Because, like, all his friends are married and...
How old was he at the time?
He's like 50-something.
Oh, yeah, that's the shit. I'm starting to hit that point.
So I'm all, oh, that sucks. I'm all, here, have some more booze. I didn't know we can drink here. I'm all, dude, they have a bar in this place. It's a fucking hotel. So we turned the entire thing into a fucking cocktail party. Everybody's enjoying the drunken shit too, because they just love the fact that we're like encouraging binge drinking in interviews. The only person who didn't like it was this one interviewer who was obviously like a overachiever. All the composer going like,
go fuck yourself.
And see, that's the perfect analogy between me and regular YouTubers right there. The regular YouTubers, the overachievers. Me, I'm the guy who just wants to like hang out, you know, with a crowd, drink a beer, smoke a fucking joint, and watch a fucking movie and just talk shit. Nobody gets that. It's like, I don't know, it's like an alien language now. It's like if you're not on YouTube trying to make money, you're just garbage.
Well, yeah, seem to have an open door policy for assholes, though, don't they?
One of my favorite people I interview, Tyler Bate. First time we interviewed him, he just got the gig for playing guitar for Marilyn Manson. He's like Mr. like, I don't give a fuck mode. He's like,
I'm just doing this nerd shit because...
Whatever.
How do you feel about Rob Zombie's Halloween? He did the score for it.
it never came up.
Cause man, that's how I know his name.
He also did Guardians of the Galaxy, 300, Dawn of the Dead.
That's where, yeah, that's where I know it. Okay, yeah, because I'm a huge Dawn of the Dead fan. I mean,
yeah.
Fuck
The Running
you,
Zombies.
We'll get into that again. Anyway.
So what happened was, the reason why I like interviewing him is because, you know, I know him outside of the interview circuit. You know, he's in Marilyn Manson, automatically rock star. And then also, because he's always a hired gun for the most part, he jams with my friend Happen and Harry.
Nice.
The Cat Club, every Sunday night, he'd have an all-star jam. My nickname for him is the unemployment office for rock stars. Because Happen and Harry's Haptone's all-star jam literally is people who were kicked out of band or who were looking for a band.
Eddie and the Cruisers, that guy.
Yeah.
He was in this movie on Showtime, directed Showtime movie, and the whole plot, the whole movie was just him in a fucking recording studio. He was what you just said. He was independent. He was a freelancer. Right?
Yeah.
Like if they couldn't get somebody to come in, or if they couldn't get the guy to come in and play, he's the guy they call in to come in and cover.
That's a session hired gun. Tyler Bates is one of those people. So one time I saw him at the Rainbow, and I also ran into Richard Eastman. Gave me a bunch of his joints. So I go, hey Tyler, do you smoke? He's like, yeah. I'm like, here's a joint. It's from Richard Eastman.
No fucking way.
Fast forward a year later, I interview him at Comic-Con.
Dude, fuck you, that's so strong.
That's how you know you're awesome. When celebrities stop to say hi to you.
Oh yeah!
In 2012, Christian protesters showed up more places than normal. So what I did, being a douchebag that I am, I had the worst swamp ass ever and hemorrhoids, and I put my finger up my ass and gave him a Hitler stash. And that was the first time I didn't get caught. Then in 2019, they showed up again, so I did that and I did it in front of a cop. And the cop was about to arrest me, and they saw I had nothing on me because I finished all my booze. And they're like, oh, you're not worth it, let me go. And I would have been down to go to jail. I was like, what are you in for? You know those dumb Christians who protest? I gave him a Hitler stash. He goes, oh God, that's cool. So I think another crazy thing I've done. I used to be able to kick myself in the head till I got fat. My great-grandparents were in the circus. One of my good friends, rest in peace, Hal Stone, he knew my great-grandparents. And he's the guy who invented mud wrestling.
I like circus. I don't like cruelty to animals, but I miss, you know, the circus, like when Ringling Brothers was a thing, you know, there's like nothing quite like the fucking atmosphere of a circus, you know? It's like a really specific.
Yeah, but that's where my great-grandpa was from. He was a clown, Harry Baker.
I don't think they do circuses, like, they don't do the circus.
Well, A, because of the cruelty animal thing. B, because Circus LA just took their crowd. And they had like a lot of like big things backing it up other than just Vegas. I mean, like Delirium, the side project of Frontline Assembly, did the music. I remember that, dude. I'm like, Delirium's on concert? Wow. Well, never mind. I gotta pay like $200 to go see Circus. Oh, here's what's really funny too, is when it comes to record labels, right? Like, I always say this, right? Every metal label's trying to find their Nickelback. Because Roadrunner Records went from an indie label to a major label because they signed Nickelback. And every goth label is trying to find their Sarah McLachlan.
Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
Because Network Records, a Canadian goth label, they had like Skinny Puppy and Frontline Assembly and shit like that. And then along came a side project of Frontline Assembly called Delirium, which is more like a Enigma sounding band. And then for the album Karma, which by the way, I recommend that to anybody who likes spiritual. They had all these female singers, and one of them was Sarah McLachlan. That label signed Sarah McLachlan. They founded Lilith there, and all the stuff that was on that goth label are a sub-label called Metropolis Record.
What about Cleopatra Records? Do you remember that?
Oh, no, that's a movie company now. Brian Pereira, founder of Cleopatra Records, he actually knew Captain Anarchy, one of my writers, back in college. And he was a glam rocker originally. They're the one who turned a punk rocker like Captain Anarchy into fucking Marquis de Sade, the glam rocker. Because he was so glam. He started off like making bootleg shirts in his parents' garage for concerts and shit. Became the goth label back in like the 90s. But for the most part, his main roots is glam. I've partied with Brian before. Brian Pereira calls me the Jaeger man. Back in the Rock City barbecues, I would show up with a big bottle of Jaeger. Who wants a drink with me? He's like, oh my God, it's Jaeger Man. So kind of like what I call Ron Jeremy. A new magazine's coming out.